right, welcome to another episode of the Vets in Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Will Curtis, and I'm joined by our guest, Jake Spoke, who's going to talk about his transition from the service into being the real estate mogul that he is. So, Jake,
Oh,
welcome to the show.
thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I don't know if that's accurate yet, but I really enjoy real estate, and I've been doing pretty well at it, and I enjoy my time, and it's a passion of mine for sure. And anything I can do to help out the veteran and military community, it's what I'm all for.
Yeah. So, tell us what did you do while you're in the service?
While I was in the service, I've been out for a minute, but I was active duty Marine Corps from 2002 to 2007, and I was a Huey and Cobra helicopter mechanic. So I worked on the structures, the body of the aircraft, the flight controls. I have a cranial helmet right here behind me and some other things in the background. So my time was spent turning wrenches on the birds, getting them ready for the mission and getting them ready up in the, getting them ready for the fight.
So, other than the fact that I'm an Apache guy, we always know which aircraft is better.
Okay.
How did that journey going from, this is my story too. How did that journey go from, all right, I'm gonna go fix helicopters and maybe go take that $80,000-$90,000 a year contracting job. Let's get rid of that and let's go look at real estate. What was the itch? What got you looking at real estate?
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't an overnight decision, but I did do all that. I got out, did the contracting work on base, and deployed it uh, to OIF as a Marine, and then afterwards as a civilian, over to Okinawa, and did all that, right, and that was great. And then I've done a few things since then, and in every capacity, I've done something to support the mission, to support the Marine Corps, or to support the veteran community. And so I was doing contracting, and then I was doing private sector, kind of got involved with getting hired on and through a military community, I guess you'd say. And then came back down to San Diego and got a government position, working for the Navy, working for Nav Air and SPAWAR. Did that for another 8 or 9 years. Shortly thereafter, I said, hey, I kind of want to, this is great supporting the mission. The hard part that I had with a lot of those other career paths that I have chosen, there wasn't not an immediate is not the right word, but to me, deep down, it didn't feel like a significant impact into encouraging and enabling my friends, people that I know, like, and trust on a deeper level. Yes, I'm supporting the mission, but often in a lot of other environments like the military and the government, your work, you might not see a result for 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years down the road. With real estate, you see a direct 30 days later, while you're going through the process, you see the impact that you have on families. So I've always had a passion for real estate, and I know this is long-winded, but I've always had a passion for real estate. And so as I was doing my government gig, I also decided to get into real estate and have something to where I can really truly feel that I can impact the folks and the troops on the ground locally within my own market.
So it really was how you can impact, and I think that's interesting you say that, because one of the things we see through the arc of many of our transitioning service members is that they lose what their service is. They lose the idea of service, where you are still in, just as a civilian, still in that service, but it became maybe a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hate to say it this way, but in the military and also as a government employee and as a contractor, I was a contractor working for a government contract. Then I was also a government employee.
Mm.
Those are great and amazing, and they're much needed, career paths. But I hate to say this the wrong way or have this sound bad, but I felt like just another number, just another body, just another name on a list supporting the mission. But with what I do now, it's a direct impact. It's a direct thank you, a direct, I'm so appreciative for everything that you've done for us and our family to enable us to get into this home, or to sell this home, or to do this or that. it's you're not just another number. It's a direct one-on-one collaboration and connection.
So, did you know that's what you were going to get from real estate, or was it just kind of I'm going to try something else and go from there?
Yeah, no, I didn't know, and it wasn't something I was just trying. So actually, let me fast rewind a little bit. I did government and real estate both full time for 3.5, 4 years.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm married, 3 kids. The oldest is almost 16 now. So I couldn't just drop the steady, the stable government gig, right? Because real estate is it's commission based, right? You don't get paid until you close on a home, until you help that client to the finish line. But it was always a passion. I was always driven. And it got to a point where I was making more money in real estate and I'd saved up 6 figures in the bank. And at that time, it's okay. Had a lengthy conversation with my wife and we said, okay, now's the time. Let's make the leap. So it's not a quick, it's not easy. Real estate's hard. It's hard work. It's simple, but it's hard.
See, that's interesting that you put it that way because if we go to HGTV, in 30 minutes they show three houses and they sell the house. Like you get to walk through pretty houses all day, you fight a little bit on the phone, and then the 30 minutes later the deal's done. That's not how real estate really is.
Not at all. Yeah. That's all for the ratings, all for the drama, all to keep you on the hook and keep you watching, right?
I
Re-
I got to talk to some of the people that are actually on those shows, and I'm a commercial guy, so like that's not
Yep.
my wheelhouse whatsoever. And it was the mystery was so gone when you realize they're already under contract for the house when they
Right.
shoot the show. The other two showings are just
Yes.
there. It's all drama, like none of it is real. And
Yeah, it's all staged.
it was almost like feeling like Santa Claus wasn't real. Like that's what it felt like. You're like, wow,
Mhm.
this is all fake.
Yep. Yeah, and unfortunately, that doesn't do our business justice, right? Because people do have that. Oh, deep down, they probably understand that majority of it's not, it's all for fluff. But the public just genuinely, for the most part, has no idea and has no idea what we do and how we do it. And that's our fault. It's up to us to illustrate that to our clients. And it's up to us, and I work with everybody, but I work primarily with the veteran and military community or law enforcement or firefighters. It's up to us to illustrate our value and what we do day in and day out, and to be a coach, to be a mentor, to be a guide, to explain and to express to them what it's going to take and why. And if it's not, even if it's not going to be an easy road and there's hurdles, explain what those hurdles are going to be.
So then what does a typical day for a residential agent look like? I mean, what time does your day start? What are you doing? When do you end? Like what does a normal day look like?
Well, there's no fully normal day. Now, sometimes there probably should be. There should be a little bit more consistency. What I found over the years in real estate, we own our own businesses every day. We own and operate our own businesses. So we do have freedom in that aspect. We're not clocking in or clocking out. But the days can be short or the days can be really long. And it's really just dependent on you myself being productive in that day. Generally, it'll start off by doing a little bit of posting on social media, spending an hour or two of reaching out to clients or prospective clients or past clients, and then typically leaving the afternoon for follow-ups on the current sales or purchases, and then also showing some homes here and there and getting out into the community and seeing what's out there. That's a very high level, very short version of it.
So what time does your day start then typically? What time does it end? I think that's the thing from commercial. I mean, I say we're 9 to 5. I come to the office by 7:30, but I mean,
Sure.
5:30, 6 o'clock, my phone stopped ringing. I'm Central Time Zone, so you got
Right.
Californians who are calling me, before 5 their time. But what does it look like? When does your day typically start? When does it end?
Yeah, at the beginning, when I was getting into it, and when I was working another gig, it was definitely the hours were all over the place. I'd be up working or sending a text message, but have it be delayed, or an email to be delayed to go out at 8 or 9 a.m. But I'd be drafting and doing all the work for it at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, doing all the prep work, right?
Mm.
And then on lunch, doing the same thing, and then the days were extended. Nowadays, I typically will start getting to work around 8 a.m. And at the moment, I have a home office. I've had offices in the past. They're kind of, the majority of us do a lot of work out of our homes nowadays, post COVID. But my days can definitely run long into all hours of the night. And I've been known to hop on a Zoom call with military clients. One example is I had a husband and wife. One was in the Navy and the other one was in the Army. One was located in Africa and the other one was in Korea. So my Zoom call was at midnight my time because it was 8 a.m. his time and 2 p.m. in the afternoon her time. And I do that more often than not, or doing virtual showings. So I've got no problem getting up early or staying up late to make sure something happens.
See, that doesn't feel like the picture we have of residential sales. Like it's like, we show up, we're post on social media, take a couple selfies, and then, that's it. I know in being around agents, a lot of times you're done showing at 8 o'clock at night, and then you go back and you fill out the contracts, you get everything prepped, ready to go. So I mean, a lot of the residential agents I know, like for them, texting at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, another agent to get some information feels normal. Whereas if you text me at 8 o'clock at night on the commercial side, I'd be like, I'll get you tomorrow.
Right.
It's such a different, it's a different
Yeah,
mind.
completely. And I also tell it's a part that goes into setting the expectations. I even tell my own clients, I say, hey, feel free to text me all hours of the day, all hours of the night. But I'll say this, often my phone is on do not disturb come 8 p.m. But if it's something really vital, really important, I'm going to respond, or I'm going to have my phone available to take incoming calls and text messages. I do have a wife and kids, so I try to stay within those boundaries that my phone is do not disturb at 8 p.m. Um, and there's going to be those times, you know. But that's something we kind of learn over the years.
To me, that's just such an interesting life balance that you get to choose your own hours for the most part. You get to have the freedom. You can work from home. You can work from office. You can do all these things. And I would think, at least knowing my personality, the struggle becomes, when do you stop working?
Yeah, and I'll be 100% completely transparent, honest here in that regard. I've worked since I was 12 years old,
Mm.
so I've known to always be busy, working, grinding, doing my thing, and that's hard. That's hard in real estate. That's hard to balance that because there's probably one group that maybe doesn't do enough, and then there's I think folks like myself where I'm always doing something,
Yeah.
and it's hard.
I can imagine and the toll that it takes on your family life. I mean, the divorce rate inside real estate is relatively high. Coming from the military, we already know that's a
Mhm.
that's a little bit of a crapshoot on whether or not you're going to stay married or not. Like the career fields we're in are difficult to
Right.
maintain healthy relationship, healthy boundaries. And have you found a secret sauce that's kind of allowed you to do that as of yet, or you sounds like you do quite a bit with the do not disturb and there's certain hours, but have you found something as of yet?
That's always a work in progress. It's my wife and I, we've been married for 18 years now, three kids. Um, it's not easy in that regard. It's real estate is a struggle, but it's keeping the communication open and keeping the conversations open in that regard and expressing the ups and the downs. My wife is also now she's been a lender for a couple of years, so she has a little bit of she has an understanding for it,
Sure.
but it's not You know, it's uh, it's difficult, but what isn't? You
True.
know, what's anything that's worthwhile? It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It might be simple, but it's not easy.
It's fair. I want to go back to something you'd said before where you'd worked in offices, you'd work at home. And when it comes to choosing that first brokerage and doing those things, like that's some of the things that some of the brokerages talk about. Hey, we are completely online. You can come to our virtual world, or others
Hmm.
are very old school, stick and brick, come to the office, come to the meeting. Yeah, it sounds like you've done a little bit of both. How did you find, I guess, the brokerage that fit for you when it comes to just those aspects of where you wanted to work?
Yeah, great question. Trial and error, but also, but
Sure.
also, been doing this for over 8 years now. I've realized, and a lot of it also has to do with the timing, with some of these cloud-based brokerages coming online over the past, 5, 8 years. Uh, it For me, it's never been about the brokerage itself specifically.
Hmm.
It's always been about the folks within the brokerage, the people. It's been about myself. I've rarely used some of the tools and resources that brokerages utilize. It's more about the collaboration, whether that's the local collaboration that you have with the folks in your office or within your community, or even a broader reach of nationwide. I'm right now. I've been with LPT. I'm one of the national directors of growth for our military network within LPT Realty. So I came on board with LPT. I was with EXP Realty prior to that.
Hmm.
And a lot of the folks that were there came over to LPT Realty and made that switch. So I, shortly thereafter, did a lot of thinking about it, but made a shift, made a switch, followed them over. And the only reason why I'm here is because of them, not even because of the brokerage, but
Hmm.
because of them.
So, I mean, it really sounds like you're surrounding yourself with the people you want to be with. And if they were with Keller Williams, they were with local somebody, if it's the right people, that's more important than really the branding that's behind you.
100%, because it's the people that make the branding what it is, right? It's all these other brokerages, I think all of them, majority of them have one form or version or another of a military group or network but then folks start things for two different camps. There's one camp that wants to be a resource and provide value and be a benefit and provide all these great, amazing things and be there for other veterans and other people. And then there's another group, another camp that said, hey, we're here to provide resources, but it's a pay to play. We're going to charge you for it. We're going to give you access to this group, this network, um, but it's $40 a month, it's $50 a month, it's $100 a month. I'm more the first option. I want to be of value, be of service, be of a benefit to others, and over time, um, you know, you're going to make money from it either way.
Sure.
But that's
So,
not what the first and primary focus is. So it's to me deep down, it's about collaboration,
okay.
and that's what our network is within our brokerage. It's all about collaboration.
Yeah, well, so tell me more about what the military network with LPT does. What is, what resources? How are you helping grow agents' business? What is it that you guys are offering to help, right? Recruit me.
Oh, sure. Well, recruiting is not the best word that we like to utilize, but
Okay.
also, so let me backtrack even about LPT Realty. So this brokerage, and again, I wasn't expecting to talk about the brokerage here, but they've always said we're always second. It's not LPT Realty and then Team Smoke or the military network. It's your brand, Team Smoke or the military network, and then LPT is second.
Hmm.
It's last. One of their slogans is we just want to be the period at the end of your brand. And
Hmm.
one of their logos it looks like a period. Like literally LPT is like, no, you do you as a group, as a team, as a human being, and we're here to support you. We're the second part, which is amazing, first and foremost. So That's awesome. But the military network specifically is um, active duty veterans, prior veterans, military supporters, um, everybody that truly loves and supports the military network. And we're here to be a resource for other veterans within the real estate space nationwide to be a resource and to provide value to each other's businesses. So we hold calls weekly. We have coaching calls. We have resource and event development calls, interest calls every week. There's a lot going on. And we get a lot of questions. Well, is this a referral network? I said, well, no, not officially. It's not. We're not here to. This is not a. Hey, I have a listing here. You know, who wants it type of thing. This is no, we're here to be a resource for each other and to provide value and to help each other grow within our own community. Um, so that there alone, like I said before, the business will come, but that's not the primary focus of being a network. It's not a pay to play. It's a collaboration, and it's
And I would agree. I've seen both models, and I've seen other organizations that are kind of doing. I mean, the vets in real estate. We're trying to do the same things. Nothing to pay
sure.
for. We're trying just to connect people, and I see the value with that. But with that said, you know, does business come from coming out with value? You want to do business with people you know, like, and trust. Well, this is the kind of networks that you build with people
Hmm.
you know, like, and trust. I'll even say, I haven't said this on the podcast yet, but I have gotten referrals off of this. Hey, I know you're a commercial guy. I know
Yes.
nothing about it. Come over here. Well, I didn't do that for this. Maybe I'm missing out on branding myself a little more.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's all about leading forward, and I would agree with you. I think there's something to be said about if you're coming in with a servant's heart, people are going to be much more receptive to that.
A hundred
And
percent.
real estate doesn't always have that reputation.
Right. Right. And even within the veteran community within real estate, as real estate agents or as loan officers, unfortunately, there is a large handful of folks that are just like, what's in it for me?
Mm.
How can I get more business from doing this or being a part of this? I said, well, we hear you, but that's not exactly what we're looking for as a network either. You are going to get business from it if you stick around and you participate and be a part of it. Because if you're showcasing that you're a good human being and you have good character, then people are going to naturally want to work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was residential what was on your mind from the very beginning? I mean, I've talked about my side in commercial, and part of what we try to explore with the podcast is here's appraisal, here's economic development, here's all these other aspects of real estate, but yet so many veterans go into residential. Was that how did you end up in residential and not, doing tax consulting?
That's a great question. And I think what it's going to stem back from, I remember when I was a little kid, I was probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6. I can't recall exactly. I used to love drawing shapes and geometry, and most of it was buildings
Hmm.
and just drawing homes and buildings. And so I had a passion or drive. I've always been driven towards architecture, I guess. I wanted to be an architect when I was a little kid. And I would draw straight lines in buildings, and draw it. That was as a 5 or 6 year old. And then, you'd kind of brought up commercial. I did briefly look into, okay, what direction do I want to go? Do I want to look at the commercial side or the residential side? Well, and this is myself saying this, knowing very little about the commercial side. That timeline is a lot longer typically. There's a lot of research and a lot of development and a lot of stats and numbers and data that goes into the commercial side, the developer side of the house. And that timeline is a lot longer. And correct me if I'm wrong, compared to residential.
Oh yeah, for us, we tell new agents it's about a 2-year cycle before you start making money.
Well,
Not
right.
a lot of money, making money.
And so when I was in the government, I dealt with logistics and supply chain and acquisition of a project. and you'd have this pen that was getting a contract to go live into the military, and the Marine Corps is like bidding on this pen. You'd have to get 3 to 5 other bids of a pen very similar that would do the same thing. And then a year or two later, it would finally get out to the fleet once they did all their checks and balances with everything. Well, I just didn't want to sit around for another, couple years waiting for the finish line for something to happen. Fortunately, in real estate, I've been fortunate to where I've shown one home to a potential buyer. I've also shown 80 or 90 homes to a buyer, and finally they got to the finish line. But there have been a handful of good examples that I've showed them one home, submitted a strong offer, maybe competed against multiple offers, but got it, proceeded forward, counseled and was coaching them through the process. And 21 to 30 days later, I was handing them the keys and having a party for them in their new home.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's what I love about doing what I do.
that's such a different timeline from us
Right.
outside of the business. And I think that's one of the reasons why residential feels a lot more attractive sometimes as well, is that you probably got a 60, 90-day window of learning, getting things going, figuring out what you're doing, getting the marketing out there. And then I kind of jokingly say I can throw a rock and hit somebody who wants to buy or sell a house, where in
Right.
commercial, that may take me a
Sure.
little longer to do
And
so.
and I'll also illustrate a little bit further in my market, and it's probably similar as yours being in San Antonio. My market it feels like it's 1 in 4 people hold a real estate license.
Hmm.
So, and it's a huge market. There's a lot of people, a lot of folks that have a real estate license, but it doesn't mean they're all producing. That doesn't mean they're actually good at what they do. I mean, most of us have a driver's license. That doesn't make you a good driver, right? It doesn't make you a good real estate agent.
Yeah.
There have been many examples to where I've had to coach brokers because, oh, I've been doing this for 30 years. I said, well, I'm sorry. It doesn't mean you're actually good at it. And
Been doing it wrong for
you,
30
you, you
years.
might have had 30 years to screw it up. But in this moment, I need to tell you what's right from wrong here. And, you know, let's work together to make this happen and get this to the finish line. And so, um, with the demographic and the folks that I primarily work with being the military background, um, it's fortunately it's a generally a warm connection, which is great versus a cold one. You have that common ground, so it can be a lower price point, but it's about the connections.
Now, I'm curious. You said that twice now. Was your decision to work with primary military or mostly military, was that deliberate, or is it just kind of the market you live in with massive military bases that are around you and you kind of have to, or kind of just naturally fit in? Like, what was that decision looking like to focus so much on military and first responders?
Great question. I've always been somebody that's kind of rooted for the underdog. I myself, grew up in a household that wasn't the best for myself. I was adopted. My parents had a biological child, and right or wrong, there was always favoritism towards the other sibling and not towards myself. And one of the reasons why I got a job when I was 12 years old because I wanted my own income. I wanted my own freedom,
Mm.
as you will. Went off to the military because I was kind of getting away from a not so good environment. So I've always been somebody to root for the underdog in the military demographic. The military is just an extension of mom and dad, and they unfortunately don't always set you up for success once you leave the military. It's about the military, it's about the mission, it's about being another number in the big environment of the military. You're there for the military. You're not there as an individual.
Mm.
So, fast forward to real estate, they're just not, especially when they get out, veterans, we're not set up for success. It's kind of a check in the box in the military, and I'm not saying one branch or the other. Hey, we did what we did. You did all your things on the checkout sheet, send you on your way. But did they actually explain and express how to operate in life outside of the military on a deeper level? And that's where real estate comes in to help educate and to help guide military and active duty and veterans through the process, because there's a lot of myths and a lot of things that folks just aren't aware of. And I want to show you just something real quick. Early on, I've got challenge coins over here on the board behind me, but spent about 9 months. I don't know if you can see this, but it's my challenge coin. If
Mm.
it'll zoom in and focus, but it says on one side, it says, "Thank you for your service. We've got your back," and it's my team's challenge coin.
Mm.
And I've got all the branches of the service on the other side. Trying to
Yeah.
get that to focus, but so working with the military and the veteran demographics, it's a calling. It's kind of what I have to do, right? You've got
Yeah.
to. I'm thankful for my service and everything I went through, and we've got to give it back because, especially the younger generations that are getting out now, they just no idea, right? Got to
Yeah.
help them out.
I want to go back to something you'd said. You'd said that that the military is kind of like mom and dad. They didn't necessarily prepare you for the real world. Now that you're sitting, several years outside of military contracting, those kind of things, what were some of those things that you're like, dear Lord, like they didn't prepare me for this at all, or I wasn't ready for this? Like, what was those shocking factors, I guess, when you started realizing you're a civilian and the brainwash starts to go away?
There's a lot to unpack there. I was in the Marine Corps, and I would say the Marines. Were you in the service yourself?
I was in the army.
Okay, all right. So the Marine Corps specifically, it's how do I say this? How do I say this politely? You're so just trained and not brainwashed, not the right word, but it's all about the Marine Corps, 100% full
Sure.
speed, right? So getting out, it's hard, especially in the time when we were in and going through war and OIF, and you do lose that connection, that brotherhood. But and again, I go back. It's hard to operate as a normal human being after the Marine Corps and after being in a time where it wasn't you were in conflict, right? You truly kind of got away from being that civilian, and you go into the military, and it literally is an extension of mom and dad. They tell you what to wear every day, when to, what to do, when to be there, what to eat. They have the chow all, and you've got your housing, which is great, but it's an extension of mom and dad, and you're there 24/7 type of thing. You never leave. You're a Marine 24/7, right? There's no there's no clocking in and clocking out, so to speak. And so getting out, it's just a shock. It's just a surprise. I was in the private sector. I was in middle to senior level management in a couple different capacities, and you'd get these veterans and these Marines coming in and like, well, I was in the Marine Corps and I did this and I did that. I said, look, that's great, but can you lead civilians, non-military folks? Give me an example of that. How would you deal with this scenario in this situation if a civilian type said this or did this? And it's it's just difficult because I think unfortunately a lot of us that get out of the military, we just have to experience it on our own because we all go through different walks of life, and it just takes time. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think what you're talking about leadership, I know I struggle with that same thing as well. And I jokingly said, I kind of realized it early on. I was like, huh, can't make civilians do push-ups. Like, okay, this is a very different, like, I have to motivate. I have to
Right.
let them see a vision, drive, and really all the things that I think when we saw great leaders in the military, that's what we liked. And I think it's too easy to fall back on go do it because I'm the sergeant. It's too easy to fall back on that positional authority. Wherein to be effective in the civilian world, I mean, yes, I'm your boss, you got to do it, but screw you, I'll quit.
Can't
I
force
mean,
it. Yeah. Yeah.
there's no contract or Leavenworth being threatened for you, going AWOL. It's such a different it's different style. And I like what you're saying there, where I've seen, first sergeants, sergeant majors, those folks that are getting out that I've led, tens of thousands of soldiers. That's
Hmm.
great, but it's not the same. It's not the
Right.
same in the civilian world. And even more so when you start working in the nonprofit space, the organizational space, where you don't have any authority. How do you lead
Hmm.
an organization like a military network? How do you lead an organization like that when everybody's got a real job? How do you
Right.
lead something like that? And not say that you're not. It just that's a very different challenge.
Right. And you have to do it with grace and with kindness and providing value, because if you're not, especially if you work in the private sector, you're going to end up sitting in front of an HR professional talking about what you did and why you did it. And often that doesn't jive well in the civilian world. And I'm thankful for getting out and working as a contractor, still working with the military, but as a civilian, and seeing that, and then moving on from that, moving into the true complete civilian sector, where in my I was in a distribution logistics environment, and in a 1.3 million square foot facility, there was only four veterans in the entire building
Mm.
out of a couple hundred workers and employees there. So we were the minority, and nobody understood, and you'd have to really, and that was at a time where I was overseeing and I was leading, an inbound department, and at one point a processing department of over 130 employees, temporary staff and permanent personnel. So you have to get them all together. They're different teams. Get them together every morning and have those conversations and build that camaraderie and that teamwork. And that's difficult because you're the only veteran in that whole entire department. You're like, oh, that's an eye-opening experience. And then moving on from that and going government and doing what I do now.
Well, I would
So
say even with what you're doing now, leading a team, now you have independent contractors. So now
yes,
you're leading independent contractors who could easily take what they like from you, bounce ship, become your competition
right.
tomorrow. How have you found leading now a team with agents, and how have you found that challenge now moving into that arena?
Real estate, great question. Real estate's it's a challenge. It's one of the hardest challenges because, again, like you just mentioned, we're independent contractors, 1099. We're our own bosses. We technically don't work for anybody else except for ourselves.
Hmm.
And so you're right. Um, Real estate has taught me, and I have a lot of this from my own character development growing up, going through what I went through, and in the military and everything else. You just have to be strong. You have to have the grit. You have to accept no. You have to enjoy and enjoy and embrace the suck, as they say. Uh, and you have to be, hey, it's crappy, it's shitty, it's hurts in the moment, but those bad times, those negative interactions, you just gotta keep your head up and keep one foot in front of the other,
Yeah.
right? Keep driving because it's going to happen. We get rejected and we get the no's over the yeses. We get more no's than we do yeses.
Hmm.
I'm moving on. I'm doing this. I had a team member recently that is a military person, and he went and great guy went and joined another massive brokerage that's on Netflix.
Hmm.
To get out there to be a part of that, right? Or to, I think, down the road be a part of that. And in a moment that hurts,
Sure.
but I'm supportive. Hey, go do it. Go do it. Go see if that's what you get out of it from what you want, what you're thinking you're going to get. Go do it. I'm 100% on board. I'm always here for you. I'm here rooting for you. But people have to do that to go grow, to do their thing.
Well, I think that's what you're showing. I think is exactly where that military leadership that does come through is that you want your soldiers or your Marines or your airmen or
Yep.
whatever. You want your troops to, you want them to be successful. Maybe that's not with you. You want them to, you want to compete against the best. That's one of the things that one of the guys I kind of grew up competing against with Marine. We got out at about the same time. We're both in real estate, and like I wanted to beat him, and he wanted to beat me. It was definitely the Army versus the Marine guy. Like we're gonna
Love
beat
it.
each other, but
Right.
it's also like, hey, what do you do? How are you becoming successful at this? Oh, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Oh, how should I implement it in my business? This is what I
Hmm.
did. Awesome. Well, crap. Now Keith just got better than I did. I gotta try harder. So it was one of those like we both wanted to see each other grow, which is such a military mindset, but we also wanted to beat each other, through that process. And I think that's where, especially with teams, it's you're investing, you're pouring into these other members that make them successful, and because they're successful, they either want to follow you because you're making them better, or they're going to be that competition where they are that friendly competition. That I was on the phone this morning with getting ready to do some things we've never done in business before. I called him, another veteran, and I was like, "Hey, I know you've done this 3 or 4 times. What am I getting myself into?" He's like, "Well, first off, I'm going to kill you at this. But second off, here's the lesson we learned on our first
Yep.
couple of times. Here's what we should do." He goes, "By the way, let's exchange notes at the end of it. And let's see who did better." It's like, jerk, you're on.
Yep.
But it was such such a military way of talking to each other, where he helped me. I know what my marching orders are now to go find success in something I haven't done, but we're absolutely going to go compete and see who wins. And I sure hope he was an Air Force guy, so I sure hope I beat him. But it's such a different way of leadership, such a different way that we lead, especially within real estate. That I think almost gives us a superpower. I don't know which way you want to call it, but it really does.
Yeah, it does. And I myself, I helped build and grow. I was like number two, if number two in charge with a military focused team with Keller Williams early on,
Mm.
right? And I was there for 3.5 years. And I told my good friend, and I said, "Hey, man, it came to a point where I was like, it's time for me to move on. I appreciate you a ton. But again, all of us in military, I think deep down we're all leaders, and I think we all want to do our own thing and at least give a shot at it. And I know in the moment he was hurt at it, but he respected it too.
Yeah.
And we just,
So
yeah.
so I say, as we start wrapping up, the question we kind of wrap up with almost every time is, if you had to look back at your transition from the military into real estate, there's got to be something in there that you would have done differently, or a lesson that you wish you didn't learn as hard as the way you learned. What advice would you give somebody who is, you know, just leaving the Marines, getting ready to go look at a career in real estate? What is the one mistake or the one lesson that you wish they wouldn't have to learn, or advice you could give them?
Oh, you know, I've always been somebody that I've tried to do something on my own
Hmm.
because I think I was raised that way. Unfortunately, I was raised that way. Um, because I felt like I could do things better on my own than with help, right? I'm stubborn that way. But I think unfortunately that's good and that's bad. And I guess my advice is to build those connections with your military and veteran community. Reach out to the guys and the gals that can support you, that have already walked through those footsteps, and ask for help. Raise that hand, right? The only way we can be successful in real estate is to be a part of a team, and not directly one team, but like to help each other out. My view is, and other people might act differently, my view is I'm a wealth of knowledge. I'm an open door. I will share it if I know it. Hey, I'm going to give you the resources that I have, or give you the value that I have. I'm not trying to hide it. You can get out there and find out that information yourself, but it might take you longer. So if I can help you and to guide you, I'm going to do it. We grow quick, we grow stronger that way. And so reach out, raise your hand, ask the questions, and don't try to figure it out on your own. Ask for help.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that's one of the things I wish I would have done early on as well, as ask for the help. Jake, I appreciate your time and you being willing to share your story with all this. This is great information. And for those that are listening, if you have comments, you have questions, you want to reach out, by all means, we got the comment section, share it, do those kind of things as well. But Jake, if they wanted to reach out to you and connect with you, what's the best way for them to go out there and find you to be able to connect with you?
Yeah, thank you. I'm all over social media. You can find me, Jake Smoke, on Instagram, Facebook, more importantly, even YouTube. I've got a website, Jake Smoke or Team Smoke Real Estate. I'm all over the place. I'm all over. So please get on there if you've got questions. I'm here to be a resource for you.
Awesome. Well, Jake, again, thank you so much for your time and listening to your heart. Sounds like if there's anybody's got some questions, you're more than willing to jump on and try to help them out.
Definitely.
So, all right, appreciate it. Thank you so much.